everybody, welcome back to a brand new Aviation Chat video. Hope you're doing really well. So today is a bit of a different video, or videos in the future, as we're going to start doing a tutorial. So I've decided, well, I put on my channel, you know, what requests I want to see, and a lot of tutorials came up, so aircraft tutorials, so I thought why not start with the PMDG 737NG3 in MSFS as a tutorial. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a full tutorial of this aircraft from A to B, cold and dark, down to shutdown, getting everything ready, the steps and the flows. And this video is mainly for flight sim beginners, so anyone who's beginning in flight sim, this is the video for you. I will try and take it slow, as people do know I do talk a bit fast sometimes, so when it comes to tutorials I try to slow it down a bit. So yeah, anyway, we're going to get straight into the video, and before we get the aircraft powered up, we're going to have to sort out the flight plan. Now, the flight plan is done for free. You can do it online, you can do it via Simbrief, PFPX, that is paid, but majority of people use Simbrief as it's free, and it is the most easy one to access. Just a quick notice, today's flight will not be on VATSIM, it's all going to be offline, so we can just literally get to grips with the aircraft from cold and dark down to shut down the basics. So without further ado, let's go over to the internet. I'm going to show you how to create a flight plan. So welcome to Simbrief. So here, as you can see, we have a flight plan from my last flight plan that we've done, which was from Nice to Gatwick, which is the last flight I completed. What you guys want to do is press new, and essentially what you want to do is you want to come down here to airline, flight number and all this stuff and fill this all out. So make sure you're logged into your account and all that. And then we want to get things loaded. So airline is Ryanair, flight number today is 1348. You can make this up, don't need to have a real flight number, but I'd like to just in case. Departure today is from Shannon. Now, Shannon Airport, you're going to use an ICAO code, which is why there's 4 Z's, or 4 Z's, sorry, what did I say Z, not American, 4 Z's, which is Echo India November November. You can find out a departure ICAO by just going to the internet and typing in Shannon Airport ICAO. And then here it says here ICAO Echo India November November, and that's what we're going to pop in here. Same for the arrival, we're going to Bristol, which is Echo Golf Golf Delta, like so, and the alternate airport fills in automatically for you, which is essentially if you don't arrive into Bristol for whatever reason, weather, blah blah blah, the flight plan will take you over to Heathrow as your alternate airport. Departure time Zulu, everything here is fine. Does it itself. Airframe, you're going to put in the aircraft that you are flying. So today we're flying the Boeing 737-700. So we'll do this one here, B737-7. Lovely. All of this you can leave this blank. And then when you come down to route, analyze route, and here we have a route for our departure today. So this is a route that we're going to be taking, and then if you come down to the map, here we are, here is our full route. This will come in handy. You're going to need this route for a bit later when we're planning our FMC. So what we want to do now is click generate OFP. So we go right to the top, click generate flights. Yes. Voila, here we have our flight plan all generated. Now you can choose to do a co-route or fill it in manually, sorry, in the PMDG 737. Basis of this tutorial, we're going to do it manually just because it's for the basics. There's no like going into folders and that kind of stuff. So as you can see here, this is our OFP. In the OFP, this is like 50 odd pages worth of the whole entire flight details. The main 2 important pages that you're going to need is like the first 2, maybe page 3. Like this page is okay, the ATC flight plan and all that here. But yeah, we're basically need the front page to fill in all our details that we need. So once you have this, please now go back into the sim, and we're going to welcome back to a very cloudy, rainy Shannon Airport. We're going to head into the flight deck, and as you can see here, everything is in the cold and dark position. You can set cold and dark by going to the FMC, going to PMDG setup and pressing cold and dark. So yes, anyway, we're going to get things loaded. We're going to head to the overhead panel first. The overhead panel is where all of your electrics, everything that gets this power to the aircraft is located. So what you want to do first is turn on the battery, which is up here in the upper left part. So just zoom in a bit, battery, turn the battery on, and you'll hear a few noises in the background. Once you get to the battery, you're going to head down to the FMC page down here, FS actions, ground services, and we're going to request ground power. Ground power provides external power to the aircraft when you're not running the APU or the engines. So once the ground power is available, a little blue light flashes up here, and you're going to click on. There we go. And now, as you can see, we have power to the aircraft and everything is loaded up. The screens will come on in time eventually, but right now everything else is powered. So what we want to do now is just to go through the rest of it, and we'll get things in a good state. Ideally I like to go from left to right. I don't know what the real thing is, I'm not a real pilot, but for flight sim basis only I like to go left and right. So you just start off at the top here, so I usually go to align the IRSs to nav, and essentially what the IRSs are is your PFD and ND. It lets you know where the location is of the aircraft, which is basically very essential to fly, and your navigation assistance. Coming down here, we don't need to do anything here, don't need to do anything here, don't need to do anything here just yet. And then this can be switched to ground power, as you can see, GRD PRR, GRD power. Ground power is set to, and then everything's good down here, everything's good there. Middle section, we want the emergency exit lights to armed, you can do that just by clicking it. Chime on, seatbelt signs on as well, that's pretty basic stuff, that one. Then this side here, we want to turn on the window heats, every single one of them but the middle one, so the two left and on the two right. As you can see, they're saying come on now. This basically just means here that the forward door is open, just to let you know what's open and what's not open. This stuff here is all good. Coming over here, this is okay as well, nothing else up there that you need to play with right now. This will do shortly, and in terms of lighting, as long as you have the position lights on, then you're good. You don't need to do any strobing or anti-collision lights just yet. Coming down to the pedestal next, down here. If you're on VATSIM, then you want to set the frequency that you need. We're not, so we don't need to play with this right now. But say if we was, and there was no ATC, 122.8 is just the Unicom frequency. Over here we have our score code. Now we're not flying on VATSIM, so the default score code to use is 2000. It doesn't really matter if you're not flying online, but I like to keep it in practice and just keep it to 2000. Right now it's on the XPDR setting. Keep it on standby for a bit, you don't really need to use anything else just yet. If you're on VATSIM, we'll start pushing back, we'll go to TA and TARA, but we don't need to do that just yet. Next step is go over to your FMC page. As you can see, we have two different FMCs here. Depending on how you like it or what seat you're flying on, I like to use the FMC on the left, so I like to use the navigation on the left FMC, and then on the right FMC all the FS actions and like data and all that. Oh, sorry about that, don't do that. Cool. Okay, so everyone, this is where it gets a bit more in depth now, which is the programming of the flight. It's actually very simple and you'll get through it really quickly. The first thing I like to do is sort out the fuel page. So if we go back to our Simbrief flight plan, and I'll show you here, on the fuel it says here a total, where's it gone? Total block fuel, here we go, 5121. Now this is the number that you want to pop in to the FMC. So if we go to the so if we go to the FMC here, 5121 is the amount of kilograms that we're taking today down to Bristol, and you can see that the fuel load has changed. So that's the block fuel that we're taking. Now payload, it's up to you. You can do this on your own and do anything you like. For me, I just like to set random. I don't really mind. I don't have to choose one in Simbrief, so I always just randomize it. You know, changes the weights every time then as well. So return from that page, you've done the fuel, you've done the payload, and that's all you have to do. Bam. Come over to the route page. So we're going to just go through here. So at the bottom here we have arrows, and essentially these arrows are literally just going to take you through everything that you need to go through. So on the first ident page, you can see here that we have a nav data AirRack of 2207, which is 22 July, and then here you can see when this is active. So from July the 14th to August the 11th is the AirRack. You can buy the AirRack cycles, which I recommend if you're flying on VATSIM, from Navigraph, and I can't remember how much they are, maybe like, oh, I'm not going to say it because I can't remember how much they are, but if you go to Navigraph's website, the AirRack is on there. You can buy them individually or as a package for a year, and it's completely up to you. Next is position in it. So position in it is essentially where we start putting our route for the aircraft. So we're going to start putting in the ref airport. The ref airport is where you are currently at, and this requires an ICAO code, which we talked about earlier on, being Echo India November November. Ref airport, pop that in there by clicking this, and then I like to, people do it differently. Sometimes people take this one, I never do, I just take this one here. So we're going to click this right button, or the second button on the right, click this and you get this long number at the bottom, which is copied here, and you're going to set it into the set IRS position with these white boxes. Bam. And as you can see, that's disappeared, and that's good. You don't need to put in the gate number, I never really do, because the SIM never really links them up. So I wouldn't bother doing that. Now if we go to the route page, you can see the next arrow is here, so it's taken through to the next step. We've done the first one. go to the route page, and then we're going to start filling in some things here. As you can see, it's already given us our departure ICAO code to put in, which is very nice of the aircraft. So we're going to put that in the origin box here, and if you look on our ND, as you can see, it's saying that we are at Shannon Airport, Echo India November. So that's how we know we're in the right position. Next thing we want to do is go to the destination, and we know the destination ICAO code is Echo Golf Golf Delta, which is Bristol. Pop that into the destination part here, and now we're just going to leave things. We're just going to leave it there. We're going to go to the next page. So as you see at the top right, it says 1 out of 2. Click in the next page here, and now we have all of our routing. Now this is where we've got to put in the route of the flights down to Bristol. So if we head back to our our OFP, if I could just find the routes, here we go. So routes, here we are. This is the route that we're taking down to Bristol. As you can see, I showed this earlier on. So we're going to pop this in here. So essentially what you have in the sim is on the left it says via, and on the right it says to. So a via is essentially these, usually a letter and a number combined, and then a to, which is a waypoint. These are airways here, Uniform Lima 9, Quebec 63, these are all airways, which is the via. And then if you're going to do a waypoint, which is the letters only, that is the to part. So basically it's in order anyway, so you'll see as I go through. So we're going to forget this for the time being, and you'll know why in a minute. But we're going to go direct to, as it says DCT. Now DCT means direct, so you don't put that in the flight plan, it's just letting you know that is a direct route. So we're going to start off here with Abagu. Oh, it sounds so weird. So ABAGU. So we're going to pop in to the Flightsim, and we're going to pop in ABAGU. Now as I said, it's got no numbers in it, so we know that this is a direct waypoint. So we're going to put it in the to section. So Abagu goes in to, and as you can see it says direct to Abagu. Yeah, perfect. And then come back to the FMC page, to the OFP, and it has another direct here. So we're going to go direct to Slany, which is Sierra Lima Alpha November Yankee. So SLANY, Slany, another direct to, see, now we've got 2 directs pop in there. And now this is where we pop in an airway. So as you can see, the next one is Uniform Lima 9. We know it's an airway, it's got a number in it. So head back to MSFS, Uniform Lima 9. And this goes into the via section. And as you can see, it then has a via, and then it's saying, where are you going to next? And then we're going to pop that in the to section. So it says next that we're going to STU right here. So if we pop that into the sim STU, we then have our waypoint popped in there. Perfect. And essentially just repeat this until you go down. I'm going to show you it all. Quebec 63. So where's Quebec? Sometimes when you don't use them very often, you completely forget where they are. Mine's been done right. There you go. Quebec 63. And then after that we have another waypoint, which is FIFA, Foxtrot India, Foxtrot Alpha Hotel. So FIFA. And then, as you can see here, we don't put in this last one, because when you have a waypoint with a number and a letter on the end, or it could be the other way around, this is a star. So this one here is called a SID. The reason I didn't put this in is because it's the departure. So you're going to pop in the departure runway and then the SID. This here is the waypoint. The waypoints, the airways and the waypoints that we're going to. This is called a SID, and this is called a star. And we do this when we're departing, creating a departure route and an arrival route. So we won't put this in until we're planning for the arrival. So we'll do that at a much later stage in the video. But for now, we're going to go through and we're going to deal with the rest of this. So once you've completed the route, we're going to press activate and then execute, and that has popped in our route here, as you can see. So now we have a nice magenta line showing us the route that we're going to take down to Bristol, as you can see. But we still need to do a bit more on the routing, because obviously I just said we need the SIDs. So the next step we're going to do is we're not going to go to Perth in it just yet. We're going to now go to departure arrival. Departure, Shannon, departure. And we're departing today runway 24. Now the way to find that out is if I just quickly get this done, I can quickly show you how you find out you're departing the runway. A good software I suggest you use is called SimToolkit Pro. SimToolkit Pro gives you everything you need, and I'll show you that now. So if you watch my main videos, you know that I use this in every single video possible. So down here, as you can see, it says an iCal code. So we're going to pop in our iCal code for the departure. Echo India November. Click on the meta, and this gives us the weather details. Now here, as you can see, the wind is 230 at 9 knots. Now the wind determines what runway you're departing from and what direction. So ideally you want a headwind on departure. So the closer the first 3 numbers are to the heading of the runway, because in our case it's 24, that's how you know what runway you're departing from. So if the winds here are 230, we're going to want to use 24 as a departure. Yeah, so it's kind of like whatever number's closest to the runway. That's like an easy way of using it, I suppose. And the wind is at 9 knots, clouds are scattered at 700, broken at 1000, 18 degrees here, QNH is 1015, and they're also broken at 400 as well. But we just need this bit here, which is 230 at 9. So go back into here, and we know that our departure runway will be 24 because the winds are 23. So here we go, and then like I said before, here is our SIDS. Now if we head back to the flight page, monitor, here we go. It's the Abagu 3 Bravo. Head into MSFS, here we have the Abag 3 Bravo, which is the one that it says we're going to use. So we click that, and as you can see here, it's showing us our departing route. So this is going to be the new route that we take, and then if I just show you that, if we execute this, it will change it for us. There we go, and now you can see it's all rearranged. And that is essentially what you need to do, and that is all the routing part completely finished, which is perfect. So if we head back to the route here, we can now see that everything has been absolutely perfectly completed. Next thing you want to do is now go back to the arrows and click perf init, and this is, it might look really confusing at first, but trust me, it's really not. It's fine, it's good. We're going to start filling in the performance. Oh, don't worry about that. Going to start filling in the performance. So 0 fuel weight, to get that, just double click. Simple as that. Double click the 0 fuel weight, and there you have. Reserves, I always use 1. I always just pop in 1. If it's right or wrong, I don't know, but it works for me. So I recommend just putting in 1 there. Now the cost index, you can actually find that by going to your OFP over here, and then here it says cost index 14. So look for CI and 14. And that's how you know what your cost index is. So 14 in here, and then as you can see it says a cruising altitude. Now to find out what your cruise flight level is, go to the flight plan again, and then I'm just going to make sure actually, because it's slightly different on Simbrief itself. 2 seconds, just need to see where I can find it on there. If I go back to SimToolkit Pro, actually it'll be probably a bit easier. Today we're cruising flight level 330. If you do it through SimToolkit Pro, which links with EF, which links with Simbrief, it gives you your flight level here. So cruising today flight level 330. It probably does say it on the OFP on Simbrief, but I can't find it. Yeah, 330 transition altitude. Just find out what the transition altitude is for this country. I usually do 6,000 if I can't bother to check. Execute that, and then this is your performance page completed. Don't need to do anything on the next page. That's fine. Then the next page is the M1 limit, which is your takeoff speeds. So this kind of determines on the wind and also the length of the runway and how heavy you are. I usually just keep it on 24k. If you had a really long runway like Stansted, I usually do like 22 and climb 1. But I don't mind doing 24k, which is kind of like the max thrust you can use. So yeah, this page you just leave fine, so don't do anything with this right now. It's probably a short runway, so you probably need to use all the power you can possibly have anyway. Go to the takeoff page here, and then we're going to pop in all of our takeoff details. So normally 737 always uses flap 5 for takeoff, flap 5 config, so we're going to pop that in here. So flaps 5 is this one right here, and you'd set the flaps by using this lever. And then as you can see, we have a CG trim here. To get that, double click. Now know the trim is 4.59. Now this is your trim wheel here, and the trim basically will stop you from the aircraft flying itself and pitching up really high and all like really low. So you need to make sure the trim is perfect. So to get 4.59, to be fair, it's pretty much done for us. Just move the wheel. So know that this is 4, this is 5, and we want 4.59. So somewhere in between. So about there will do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be as close as possible. And then on the right, as you can see, we have QRH, V1, VR, V2, and it's giving us all of our takeoff speeds here. So you want to click just, there we go, click these three, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then here we have all of our speeds. Now that, believe it or not, is the FMC completely finished. Don't need to touch this again until later on. If we come back to the captain's position here, we're going to start setting up our MCP. Now, coming down here, oh, hello. Don't know why I'm getting a few things going on there. Right, if you just want to set the QNH really easily, just press B and it will set it for you. But what you want to do here is go to HPA, hectopascal, which is what you use in Europe. Inches is what you use in America and other countries. But in Europe we use hectopascals. This is a European flight, so we're going to use that. QNH is 1015 today, so we've set that, and it should be set on the other side as well, which it is. Next thing you want to do is set up this little bit here and what you would like. So I like to use data, and obviously I like to use weather as well, but we don't need to do the weather radar just yet. Coming over here, sorry about these lag stars, don't know what this is. Flight director left on, flight director was making a few weird things, but I think it's alright now. Flight director left, flight director right is on, and then we're going to set all of our speeds. So now our V2 speed is 123, so we're going to set V2 speed of 123 in here. Heading, let's keep it on the max. I'm going to set the runway heading, which we know is 240. So set 24, and then we have our runway heading here. It might be perfectly aligned, but it's good enough. And then altitude, we know we're cruising flight level 330, so we'll set that. There we go, 330. And while we're at it, we will set our altitude here, which is basically the cabin pressure, to 330 as well. There we go. And then that is all we need to do on the MCP. Now the next step really is to get the aircraft ready for push and departure. So if we go down to our FS actions on the right MCDU, and we go to ground services, we just want to make sure everything here is okay, which it is, and then go to doors. We want to close the left door. Then you'll see the left door starting to close and the passenger bus will slowly go. In actual fact, there we go. Passenger services, release stair 1, and then you'll see the stairs go. You see they're going down now. So that's the passenger door shut, and the stairs will start to disappear soon as well. Perfect. And then just return from here, and then we're going to head back to our overhead panel. I'm going to get a few things going. So, in order to get the aircraft ready for pushback and departure, what we want to do is basically turn on a few more things. So we're going to start again from left to right. We're going to turn on the yaw damper now. All the fuel pumps need to come on. That's important. There we go. And if we have fuel in the sensor, which we do not, as you can see, CTR 000, if we had fuel in the sensor, we would also turn on these two pumps here, but we have no center fuel, so there's no need to put them on. And then what we want to do is come from up here. That's okay for now, everything is good. Ground power needs to stay on until the APU has successfully started. Now down here, as you can see, it says APU. It's really simple to start, on, start, and it switches back to on again. Just hold it down and it switches back to on. You'll see this EGT start to rise, which is the APU starting to rise, so we'll just wait for that. I'll just show you. Don't worry about this. There we go. EGT is starting to rise, that means the APU is starting to rise as well. Starting to start. Cool, and then everything else here is good. This is all fine, we can keep this as it is. Over here we want to switch on the APU bleed, and that will basically feed like aircon into the aircraft, which is very good in summertime. But in terms of everything else, packs need to stay off, isolation valve needs to stay open, and then these two here need to stay on as well. And then also to get the aircraft ready for pushback and departure, we want to turn on the anti-collision light, switch that on, and then you'll see this red dot flashing. This just says all the aircraft knows that we're like about to move, that we're moving. Okay, cool. So, as you can see here, this is flashed up, generator off bus. We want to switch the APU, APU, both of these on, and don't matter what one you do first, I just do the second one first. Switch that on, that gets rid of one. I need to do this one now, switch that one on, and now we're on the APU. Now the aircraft's being powered off the APU. We can turn off the ground power, and then head down here, go to ground services, and then release the ground power. and the aircraft won't shut down. If you release the ground power before starting the APU, the aircraft will go completely black and nothing's gonna, go completely dark, nothing will be powered. So the APU is another source of power. Now we can switch this little thing up here, the little knob, up to APU generators, because that's what we're being powered by, which is just great. And that is essentially all you've got to do for the overhead panel. Come back down to the pedestal down here. Now we're going to start switching around all of this. So we're going to switch our little indicator down here to TA only. That basically says traffic no on our little ND radar that we are about. So we come over here. We now need to select traffic. As you can see, these lines have appeared, and that means that we now have traffic and TCAS working and on, which is perfect. Okay, so now the aircraft is ready for start and push. So now what we want to do is request pushback. Now I use a pushback tool, which you can find on flightsim.to, called, well, it's just called pushback really. So what we need to do is pre-plan pushback. And you want to push in the direction of the runway. So we know departing 24, so when we push back, nose left. So if we just come out of here, go back a bit, there we go. And we can be pushed all the way back to here. Click it, press enter, and then request pushback. As you can see, another tug has randomly appeared, which they should come here in a moment, hopefully, if everything goes well for me. So far it's been alright. Shame if it doesn't actually work, wouldn't it? If not, guys, use the Shift P. That's what I say, use Shift P if it doesn't work. Right, okay, we're going to do a manual pushback today. Not to worry, we'll do manual pushback. Now, the aircraft is ready to start the engines. So to start the engines, what you want to do is switch engine start down here. But in actual fact, before we do that, what I'm going to do is going to pull the parking brake. That actually may have been why they didn't come the first time. Please make sure your parking brake's set. That would be good. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So we can remove the wheel chocks now, and as you can see down here, the chocks on the wheels have disappeared because we've got rid of them, and pushback is starting to happen here. As you can see, the pushback tail is actually coming to us this time. Okay, one more thing on the MCP, you can arm LNAV and VNAV if you wish. I do, but there we go, we've done it. Now what we'll do is we'll wait for the tug to start the pushback, and then we'll get the engines going as well. And I'll show you how engines start, how to start the engines, which is actually a really, really simple process.
Okay, sir, the bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed. Please set parking brakes.
Okay, so parking brakes are set, so they should just realise that.
Lifting the aircraft.
A little bit of a bug there. There we go, so aircraft's being lifted. Ready for push.
For start and push.
There we go.
Okay, cleared for push start.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
There we go, so
Yeah, we'll start in
the aircraft's being
sequence.
pushed back now, so we can now start the engines. So up here on engine start, as you can see, we have engine start and two knobs here. Whatever one you want to do first. I know airlines have specific ones they like to do. I always start with engine 2 on the Boeing. I don't know why, call me weird, but I do. So we're going to switch both to right, so ignition right, and then we're going to switch this one to GND, which stands for ground. Switch that to the right, and then if we come down to our trusted little panel here, we'll start to see the engines have started to rise, as you can see. Down here on N2, once this number gets to 25% or 25, you want to throw in the engine 2 fuel. Okay, so 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25 fuel flow. And if we come outside, you can see here that engine 2 is spinning, and it will start hopefully successfully. We'll head into the flight deck and just have a quick look. There we go, so once you hear that little click noise, we know that engine 2 is successfully starting, and we can now start engine 1. So we're going to switch this to the ignition left now to start engine 1, and we're going to do the exact same process and switch this to ground. And now you'll start to see engine 1 rise, as you can see. EGT is alive, and now the N2 is also alive. Once again, you wait for 25%, and then we'll pop in this fuel. And 25, in goes the fuel. Have a look at the left engine. You can see now that is also starting. Amazing.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Okay, so now pushback will do whatever it needs to do. We can get rid of it now. And we're going to do what we need to do here. So we're going to wait till both of these engines are in sync.
Roger. Good engine start. Clear to disconnect.
There we go. So now they're both exactly the same, which means that we can start doing the before taxi checklist now. So over to the overhead panel. Down here we can switch this back to both, and both switches to continuous. Generator 2, turn that on. Generator 1, turn that on. And now you can see we're on APU. Switch off the APU, and we're on generators now. Up here then we want to switch this to Gen 1, and then we can now turn on the probe heats. We can now turn on the electric pumps, and then that is all good over there. Last bit is up here on this little panel here. So PAC needs to come to auto, isolation valve needs to come back to auto, APU bleed needs to come off, and as you can see that is everything is set. This is all good. Down here everything is good. You can hear a few wind noises, it's just the aircon and all that. Now we'll do our light configuration. So runway turn off lights on and taxi lights on as well. Have some Wi-Fi problems today. Taxi lights on as well. Everything here is good. Don't need to do anything else. Come down to the flap lever configuration. I'm going to set flaps 5 because, as you know, we had flaps 5 in our takeoff reference. So flap 1, flap 2, and flap 5. And then if we look here, we will see our flaps starting to be deployed, and it will go all the way down to flaps 5. So have a look on the wing view. There we go. You can see that the flaps. Just notice there's TVs in here now. That's new. Yeah, as you can see, flaps 5 has now been configured. Back into the flight deck we go, and then we want to set our auto brake. Now this is the auto brake system here. We're going to set this to RTO, which stands for rejected takeoff. If we need to reject the takeoff, and we set the thrust levers, and then the auto brake basically will stop the aircraft and as quick as it can to stop you from sliding off the end of the runway. So auto brake is quite an important feature there, so make sure that's set to RTO. Flaps 5 is all good. And now the last step to do is we're going to go to the we don't have it on this aircraft. Okay, don't worry. We will do it still, but we just have to do it ourselves. So we're going to do a flight control check. So the best way to do this is by going into the cabin and going full left. Make sure your flight controls work. Full right. There we go. Going outside. Full up. Ah, we can't really see it. Full up. And oh, you can't do it in this view, can you? It's so annoying. There we go. Full up and full down. Full rudder left and full rudder right. So now we know all of our flight controls do work, which is always a good sign for flying an aircraft. Head back into the flight deck. Here we go. And now we're good for taxi. So everything on the overhead panel is perfect. Everything down here is perfect. And flaps are set and everything's good. We'll switch that back to the legs page now. Right, releasing the parking brake then, and then a bit of thrust, and then as you can see the engines are spooling up, and we're starting to taxi to runway 24. Now what we want to do is follow the taxi lines to 24, so we can go down here to the left, because as you can see the runway is to our left over here. You can find charts on Navigraph or on what do you call it, ChartFox, which is a freeware one. They don't always have charts for all the airports, but they work. So So yeah, just taxi to the runway you're departing from, and then I will meet you nearer to the runway where we start doing our takeoff checklist, or before takeoff checklist.